Hi, this is Zach here with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Friday, the 3rd of November. Starting off with the FTSE 100, which found its support in that 7,200, 7,300 band and has pushed higher. We had resistance on the way down, 74.30, and above that we're looking for at least the 50-day moving average at 75.10, and then up to maybe 7,700 by the end of this month. Obviously, that's quite a punchy call at this stage, especially ahead of the non-farm payrolls later today. On the downside, below 74.30, then we're back to that 7,300, 7,200 band again as a worst-case scenario. Moving on to the DAX, which had some fireworks earlier this week with the gap to the upside. We'll see whether that has maintained its strength. Yes, so a bear trap island reversal, and above the 15,000 level, looking for a retest rather simply of October resistance, 15,500 plus. That's just shy of the 200-day line at 15,600. What we don't want to see is another fader at the 50-day line, 15,300, because we failed there 3 or 4 times since the beginning of August. Moving on to the Dow, which is obviously waiting for those non-farms, and here we've had the bear trap gap reversal from below the October support there, 32,800, the gap higher yesterday. What we're looking for here is at least a test of the October resistance, 34,100, and then maybe back to 35,000 by the end of this month off the back of the bear trap gap reversal and the bullish divergence. So lower lows there for the end of October, but the RSI trace higher, so it's a bona fide bull signal there. Moving on to Bitcoin, which is a bit of a lap of honor at the moment, really, and here we're still in this bull flag pennant, whatever you want to call it, such a consolidation above old resistance at 32,100. The longer we stay above that, the more confident we are that there'll be a new leg to the upside up towards that old one-year resistance line projection at 43,000, and possibly we could get that by the end of this month if we have a clearance of the 35,000 area in the next week or so. Below 32,100, then there's the chance of filling the gap down to 30,000 as a worst case scenario at this point. Just want to have a look at gold, because people were getting very excited about gold going through the 2,000 level, and obviously once again we have failed at 2,000. Not over yet, obviously, but the 1970 area support, that was old resistance in September. We do have the rising 50 and 200-day line, so hopefully they will kick in and then allow this market to head back up to 2050, which is a May resistance line and actually the top of that broadening triangle from the early part of this year. Below 1970, then there's a risk of a test of 1950 and the 200-day and 50-day moving average areas. Onto the stocks, and it must be a bull market if Audioboom is at the top riser on the top riser leaderboard today. In fact, it's probably done better than we were hoping for even yesterday. I think yesterday the shares were around 150 or so when I was looking at them, and we had a target then of £1.73 as a minimum. Above 173, we're looking for £2.60, which may be in the wake of today's or the latest Cavendish report suggesting there's a target here of £13 a share. We might get at least 260 by the end of next month. Upside valid here, at least while we're above the 50-day line, and now at 160. And if we're lucky, then we close above that old July resistance line at 173. That would be good. The highlight here, really, with the charting is that we had an unfilled gap to the upside off the low and bullish divergence. So those are the two big signals, charting signals in small caps. They're the big signals because they are normally correct, and so far this one or this combination has worked. On to Artemis, which I believe had a good day in Oz yesterday or overnight. Here we've had effectively a bear trap island reversal, so gapping down at the beginning of the month and gapping up, both at the end of last month and to start this month. End of day close through the 50-day moving average at 1.4, and we're looking for the top of that rising trend channel from December last year as high as 2.3 pence by the end of next month. Stock which I've never heard of before, so that's always exciting and new, is Cavendish. Here we've had a falling wedge breakout through the 6.6 pence level, bullish divergence line as well, that helps. And what we're looking for is that while we're above 6.6, the shares head up towards the 10 pence area, which is the top of that broadening triangle from the end of the summer back in August, and also the 200-day moving average area. So the longer the shares stay above 6.6, the more confident we are with a 10 pence target by the end of next month. On to Corel, and here we can see that the shares delivered the goods yesterday. I think covered the shares yesterday, and they managed to peak at around 0.62. Our initial target there was 0.58, and we're back at 0.58 now. Ideally, we stay at 5.8 or above on the latest retracement and head up to the 0.8 area by the end of this month. I suppose the stop loss there, or ideally the shares don't go back below the September peak at 0.55, but if we can close at 0.58 or above today, I think most will be happy. Moving along to Futura Medical, which is back with a bang, pun intended. Here you can see that we've gapped through the top of that falling wedge. The resistance line there at 31 pence, above 31 pence, looking for the May support area around 38 pence as an initial target, hopefully over the next week or two. And then the idea would be that the shares could return maybe to 45 pence and the October resistance by the end of this month. But the key here is holding that gap and staying above 31 pence for Futura. On to Greatland, which had its news today, and although there's a little wobble at the beginning, it looks as though the shares are holding up pretty well. And we're just waiting really for that end of day close through 10 pence. If we can get that, then we could see a new leg up towards the 11 pence area, which doesn't sound like very much, but for Greatland, that would be quite an achievement given the struggles the shares have had over the past year or so. This stage only well below the 9 pence area now on an end of day close really delays the upside scenario, especially given the way that the 50 and 200 day lines are both rising, and so we are in the run up to a golden cross, and that's why I'm sort of on the case in terms of a proper breakout there at Greatland. On to Gildan Sports, which has been in recovery mode of late. Here you can see that we gapped higher, I think last week, bear trap gap reversal, and that's why we're covering this stock again. Hopefully the initial target here up to 0.77 by the end of this month, which is the top of that falling trend channel from April and the 200-day moving average. I covered Novacyt yesterday because it also has an unfilled gap to the upside from the lows. In fact, it has two, which is very impressive. And on that basis, we should be looking for at least a move towards the resistance on the way down around the mid-60s over the next week or two. Big picture target here as high as 90 pence by the end of next month, by the end of the year. But I suppose one doesn't want to get too excited too soon. Stop loss on the long argument at the moment around 47 pence, which is that broken resistance line, which was cleared this week. Moving along to Quadrise, which has been encouraging over the recent past. QED is the code there, and here you can see that we had the unfilled gap to the upside through the falling wedge there from back in August. That was around 0.8, and above 0.8 we have been looking for the shares to head as high as 1.4 pence by the end of this month. 50-day line now rising, which provides extra momentum to the long cause. On to the last two. First one is Wishbone, and here you can see that shares have been holding above the rising 50-day moving average, so that's what I call a sideways shuffle, and above that rising 50-day line up 2.1 pence, looking for 3 pence by the end of this month at the top of a rising trend channel from July. But the main thing here is that we hold above that 50-day line. Finishing off with Zoo Digital, which I think announced big deals, but the market not so impressed until now at least. A very strange pattern there with the gap down and then bouncing back. Higher low though for October, the latter part of October, and we've broken that line of resistance there from September at 38 pence. Initial target here, the top of the gap down at 51 pence and then up to 70 pence. Maybe by the end of the year if we can clear the 50 pence area on a weekly close basis. That's it from me today. More updates over the weekend.